All right, folks. Welcome once again to Soup City Sense. This is season 3, episode 5. Always forgive your enemy. As per usual, just a little bit about the city itself. That wondrous hellhole of a place sitting atop the lake. While most people consider it just a part of the lake, Chicago is a very interesting place as it considers the lake its own private ocean, its own beachfront cabana. Chicago's a city much like most other urban areas of the world where the contradictions in quality of life is a matter of perspective. And that perspective changes daily and almost down to the minute. You can be atop of your fortunes or at the bottom of someone else's garbage pile simply based on the various vicissitudes of the day. Chicago's a place where being armed, whether in with a gun, a knife, a bat, a pipe, someone else, or just your wits is penultimately important. Because here, the monsters dress well and eat better. And so we pick up with our coterie in the morgue of their haven, going over the results and findings of the previous night's activities, having broken into the hellscape that is the Winnetka Psychiatric Institute and survived a trek and a travail from Winnetka back to the haven. They're once more gathering themselves for the fight or the many fights that lay ahead of them. So we pick up in scene with Dizzy, Alex, and Hestia having ended some portions of discussions and picking up others. Hestia, the idea of Hayden being as he is tantamount to a kid being gifted the keys to a candy store. And while you have restrained the urge and effort to go poking and prodding and probing to find more of the facts of what he actually is, troubling thoughts sit over Alexander. There are prophecies and word of mouth gossips that make Aiden a very dangerous thing to have in your presence. Dizzy, well, the danger is as evident as the quiet whispers and the hushed conversations that are taking place. The truth of that Aiden offers is you can make it in Chicago and stay completely off of anyone else's radar. So, starting in alphabetical order, Alex, what are we up to?
Um, I guess just like checking in on everybody, seeing how they're doing before sunrise.
Okay, and what would that entail for Alex right in this moment?
Aiden and Dizzy have a place to rest, right?
Well, Hesha has laid out pillows, as it were, for them in the morgue drawers.
All right, classy.
Aiden is still off using the facilities, which is a weird thing in and of itself, as the biological functions necessary for you all to do so doesn't exist for you and most other kindred.
Yeah, that's true. That's really weird. Um, I guess just like wait and watch and see what everybody else does. See if anybody needs me. Just I guess stand there until everybody else goes to rest.
Okay, Dizzy.
Dizzy is mostly just sitting on a table. got one earbud in so she can listen to her music, and one out so she can kind of be ready if someone asks her a question or something. She's definitely interested in Aiden because she has, you know, she can eat food, but not in the way that he does. And she doesn't have to go, use the bathroom or anything. She's just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop at this point with these people.
Yes, the other shoe indeed. And speaking of which, Hestia.
Well, of course, I've just made it very clear to Simone and Alex, who are here, of what I was told about needing to be um, within the line of the law as to how things need to be handled right now, and that we can't get ourselves in any further trouble until we make it through whatever's going on. And knowing that needs discussion, but knowing that I do not have the mental capacity or wherewithal to discuss that tonight. Um, there is the screaming in my head of my wards due to the extra vampires in the Haven, so that is taking up a lot of my mental bandwidth. Um, and there's also the creature perched on the ceiling that I'm trying very, very hard not to stare at and ignore. So there's that.
Okay, sounds like a plan. And Simone, as the evening is wrapping to a close, Hestia having laid out the bedding for your guests, what are you doing to prepare yourself for the end of the night, for the death sleep that is coming fairly shortly? Your mic may not be active, or you might have your mute on. I can't hear anything. Okay, so while that gets sorted out, okay, so while that's being sorted out, everyone is preparing for the end of the night. The question still becomes, where would you all like Alexander? Because there hasn't been a place actually carved out for him just yet within the Haven.
Perfect. Can you hear me?
There you go.
Perfect. Okay.
So the question still is, what are you doing to prepare for the evening's end?
I'm sitting in the darkened corner where I kind of here and I am counting time, seeing if the taking care of it comes out either on an hour, on a 10-minute, or on a whole number, or if it's just sort of random how long does it take for him to use this bathroom, because either one of two things are happening. Either A, this is a very elaborate prank or plan to get under our defenses, which, as you can tell, him being here is perfect and it's just crazy enough that perhaps he could do it, or he's literally self half dead who actually can use the restroom, which is brings us a whole different can of worms to deal with.
Okay. Well, the truth of Aiden's claims are resolute in the fact that you all hear the very unusual sound of splashing water being used. While the facilities in the Haven are completely functional, you all have not had to use the facilities in any manner whatsoever, save the occasional bits of water needed to conduct some of Hesh's experiments or to clean down one's substance or another. Yet, lo and behold, the unmistakable rolling, watery thunder of a commode being flushed precedes his exiting of the facilities. He comes out, stretches, and it's clear that he's made use of the sink as well, because even this, not that you all, care all that much in regards to certain human sense, he clearly does. He's washed from neck to wrist and managed to clean up a little of the residual staining of the blood that was covering him in various portions. The clothing that you provided him, it's a little baggy, but for the most part it fits. And so he is standing with slightly dampening clothes as he actually did try to scrub some. Looking from one face to the other as everyone's waiting pensively and either lost in thought or lost in mental investigations of the situation. So, yeah, I guess we're bedding down for the day, huh?
I mean, do you not need to sleep during the day? I mean, how do we know? Because, I mean, you ate and used the bathroom. So I have no clue whether you need to actually sleep or not. And if you sleep, do you like dream and stuff? Because that would be like pretty awesome. I get sort of dreams. They're like visions more than dreams, but they're not actual dreams. But do you like get dreams?
Uh, Not really, man. Like when I actually pass out, I just kind of pass out. I get a little sleepy during the day most days, but a couple of hits or a bump or two, and maybe a little maybe a drink or two, and I'm good to go.
Hmm. So here's a question for you. Do you still go out in the sunlight?
Yeah, as long as I'm pretty, as long as I'm pretty covered up, put on a little suntan lotion, and like I said, if you guys got a hoodie around here, I can go ahead and get out your hair. I can make it home. If I knew where it was. But no, you guys said I should stay. So not trying to be rude or nothing. I'm like I'll just camp out here with Dizzy in this
The only
spooky
reason I'm
dark
hesitant to let you go
morgue.
is see, I have some books in my library, and I think they might be able to help you out if I could at least look through them before you leave. So that's the only reason I would kind of push for you to stay. Otherwise, I completely understand, and maybe you would be right. But like I said, if I can help you in any manner, understand what you are further, that would be great on both of our parts, now wouldn't it? And as far as it being dark, you don't have to turn out all the lights. We can dim them, and you don't have to push the carts in completely. I know it's probably a little scary after what you just went through, but as I promise you that we have no harm intended for you. I just want to help you out. If I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead already.
Comforting much? Yeah, cool. Like I said, I'm not trying to be rude. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. So me and Dizzy will cuddle up and hang out down here in the spooky morgue. So,
For an undead person, morgue is not really the worst thing that can happen to you.
no, that's probably being away for your own autopsy. Like that was pretty kind of jacked up. Um, so,
Are you
yeah.
saying you want to have a sleepover?
I wanted to ask if there's anyone I should alert to you being all right. Anyone that you'd like me to see if they can come here and check on you. Anyone you want me to make outside contact with.
Like I lost my phone, and it's sad, but I don't remember anybody's numbers by heart. Um, so
What about
no.
that girl you kept mentioning?
Yeah, my girl. Yeah, I'd love to reach out to her, but don't hate me or nothing. But since, dude, I've had a cell phone since I was 3. I don't remember anybody's numbers. I put it in once and just dial the name.
So you don't know
Right?
an address I can find her at?
Um, in the what 40 minutes before the sun comes up, you've got like super flash like speed to run there.
Tomorrow night. I would go looking for her tomorrow night.
Oh, but Hestia would already have, cracked open her storybook. She would have already helped me. I'll already be on my way, right?
There's also the question of whether you're a target. The two of you were kidnapped for some reason. If we let you go without looking into that, then you'll probably just get kidnapped and tortured again, for all we know. So I was hoping I would get a chance to look into the people who took you and make sure you're safe. If it was just a random kidnapping, then, just stay out of the area you were in, and that's as simple as it is. But you might have also been targeted, as far as I know.
I honestly feel like it was just wrong place at the wrong time. They heard about the party. Who doesn't want free blood? They showed up at the party. It's the wrong place at the wrong time.
Don't forget that
Yeah.
many of the people at that party were important political figures in kindred society, and their assassination would have benefited a great few people. I don't think every circumstance there was random either. There's not much room for coincidence these days. I've started to see.
Hey, so while we're talking about that party, does anyone know what happened at that party? Because Captain Autopsy here is talking about he got jumped in the parking lot, and I don't remember shit.
Well, I was inside and dodging bullets, but other than that, not really. There was a lot going on.
So that was shooting and not fireworks?
Yeah, there were
Oh, oh,
Molotovs thrown.
don't forget grenades. There was also grenades.
Yeah, so there was an all-round terrorist attack at that party, and it seemed to be kindred in nature.
See, that's why I don't hang out with nobody but my girl. Hey, look, I'm really, really thankful, but you guys are making me nervous to like stay with you guys. Yeah, you guys were at the party. Bad stuff happened. I'd finally go to a party that I don't know many people at, and bad stuff happens, and then I end up cut open. So,
You're missing something really important. We all survived, made it easily, and saved you. So if anything, you're probably the safest right around us.
I mean, look, not to be rude or anything, but I didn't have to save you. That place was kind of dangerous, and it would have been easier for me just to leave, but I made a stop to make sure you got out of there safe before I left. Why would I just want to put you in danger again if I went through the extra trouble to save your life?
no. Hey, look. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm really, really thankful. Like, I get to, have a nice meatball sandwich. I even got some, gotta wash up a little bit. So I'm really, really thankful, man. Like, dude, like, really, really, like, I'm really happy. I'm glad, but, and really appreciative. But I've been dead for almost a year now, and I ain't getting no trouble. We managed to stay away from almost everybody. And I think that might be best, like just to get back to being low key off everybody's radar, like away from everybody again. The only people that I even like knew, like kind of saw face to face vampires before you guys were like Janice and a couple of the other dealers.
Oh,
That might
sweetie,
not
but
be possible anymore. It's getting kind of crowded around Chicago.
and you went to a vampire party. I mean, like a whole bunch of people saw you now.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Like that's scary, man. I meet more than two vampires at once, and then someone cuts me open. That's not like, man. Like it got almost, like I said, I've been dead almost a year without anything. Like my girl was all nervous about, oh, watch out for the hound. So I stayed away from dogs, stayed away from rats, I stayed away from like any place that I knew like there were real vampires. There's a reason why I was really happy working. Like I go to work, come home, get a couple of hits, go pick up a couple of bags. We chillax, me and girl. We watch like reruns of American Ninja Warrior, and everything was cool. And now I don't know where she's at. I had to look at my insides.
he Hestia just randomly, as she's listening to she's texting Simone because they're having a huge exchange, but she hears the whole thing about the hounds and the avoiding the dogs and can't help herself but giggle.
Izzy looks at Hestia and says, "Hey, do you think they were trying to turn him into one of them sausage demons, maybe?
What?
Them outside out dudes that ate all the orderlies. Were they making him one of them or something?"
You know, I that's plausible, but those felt more, what do you call it? Malevolent. Sorry, I had a brain freeze. Malevolent and vengeful. So slightly supernatural
I
to
mean, that'd be
me.
pretty malevolent and vengeful if someone turned me inside out.
Wait, what are you guys talking about?
Fair. Oh,
Not counting eight, of course, right?
What was that, Simone? They got lost.
He was making a slight comment and when he got turned inside out, he was saying not like Aiden though, right?
Oh no, 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 nope. See, what happened was when you two went up to the top of the stairs to check things out. We started hearing things in the dark, and because she kind of looks up on the ceiling. Our friend, heavy quotation marks, with you when you went up the stairs. The other things that were being kept at bay by it decided to make a visit, and they were visible, not let's just say I could see it, but so could DZ. And they were walking and snarling and dragging their bloody, gooey footprints along the ground, and we ran up the stairs, and then they kind of stopped at the top of the stairs and were waiting for something, and then orderlies came and they attacked the orderlies, so we ran while they were attacking the orderlies. Yeah, it was not fun.
Aiden looks from you and tries to follow your gaze. Are they here? What do you keep looking at over in that corner?
Well, see, that's the thing about different sorts of our kind. Like Simone was trying to explain to you earlier, different clans or families get different abilities. I am Clan Tremere. Clan Tremere are the magic users, spiritualists. We can see the spirit world if we open ourselves to it. And then we almost always know it's there, even if we aren't looking into it. We can do blood magic, some other fun things, but yeah. So,
So you're saying there's something else I got screwed out of?
I don't think you want this.
Fuck, man, this sucks.
No, trust me, this is one thing you don't want to be able to do.
Dude, I'd rather be able to walk in the sun. That is rad.
No, it's not. I burned. It took me 3 weeks to heal a little small patch about the size of a quarter. Burned all the way down to the muscle. As long as I'm covered up, a little suntan lotion, and I'm good. But if I forget, dude,
if I don't crawl in the bottle, I'm done.
Yeah, but not peeling like like turning red like a lobster is not much of a superpower considering I'm dead.
You can learn different abilities if you really want to.
Yeah, let's really not get into a pissing contest over who got it shittier about who has it worse being dead. All portions of being what we are suck. They suck.
I mean, that's fair. But the sun,
I don't know how long.
But you guys can lift trucks, see ghosts, use magic like Harry Potter, be super strong, super fast, and all I get to do is go to work.
These abilities, however, have strong ties to the society of the undead, which is something I'm not sure you'd know about. they come with certain high expectations and pressures, as I'm sure Hestia can tell you all about from her chantry.
Yeah, I think staying off the radar is probably the best, man. Like, but if we're going to bed, like I've never slept on. Well, that's a lie. But I've never slept on metal without holes in it. So, like, will the drawers have to slide in, or can I like keep it out? Will it support me, or is it gonna fall?
No, they're made to hold the weight. You can let it be pulled out as long as you want. And they're pretty heavy duty. They're made to hold up to like a 500-pound person.
One other question: did you guys like clean them out before letting people sleep on them? Like, I'm not sleeping in somebody else's dead body juice, am I?
No, we tend to not really have all that often dead bodies down here. Well, actually, more lately due to certain circumstances. But no, we clean. I clean very much so down here. And the ones that I pulled out for you haven't been used in. She starts counting on her fingers. About 5 or 6 years.
Cool. Well, beans. Do you want top bunk or low bunk, Desi?
I mean, I don't care.
All right, I guess I'll take the top. So see you guys tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah, we'll be here.
Sure, that works.
And with that, with about 20 minutes left before you guys turn into corpsicles, he climbs up onto the open morgue drawer and slides in. He doesn't slide the drawer in, but he slides onto the slab and kind of closes his eyes. And it's a little disquieting watching as he goes to actual sleep before the death of the day falls over you.
Once we down, I go to my door, lock it, and actually die.
Well, you guys have like 20 minutes before you need to be in a set location for the day's death to fall over you. Is there anything else you guys would like to discuss amongst yourselves in that time?
I'm gonna bring up the fact that yes, I did mention what I was told, but I'm also mentioning the fact I'm guessing Scourge is courteous. Am I correct? Okay, so who's the Scourge?
You've met the Scourge. The Scourge is no, that was Balthazar was the former sheriff. The Scourge was the blonde that was with Damien when he took down Balthazar.
Oh, is that the crazy one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I mentioned to Simone and Alex because I remember that Alex is still there. Okay, so I was told that Scourge will be back tomorrow. Just in town tomorrow. That Damien will be back the night after that. And our friend will be back the night after that. So that is the timeline of things.
The Scourge is coming here.
No, just we'll be back in town. So tonight,
Okay.
Basically, that was a warning to not do anything stupid tomorrow night when somebody will be in town enough to catch it. Basically. So, yeah. And out of the two of them, I'd rather deal with Damien than Scourge because she's a little cheese off the cracker.
As much as I would expect from a Camarilla Scourge.
Yeah, but I think I know her. That's not fun.
Are you guys having this conversation in front of Disney?
I I'm assuming that Disney is still listening to music.
Okay, was just curious. So yes, Alexa will be back in the city and active tomorrow from whatever mission that they've been assigned to. And it's clear that whatever mission that they've been assigned to, or whatever they were tracking or trailing, definitively resulted in something or someone dying. The scourge, unlike the other hounds, is typically there to make sure that whatever the investigation's end is measured in something's blood, typically.
So as we're kind of, I guess, I wave goodnight to Dizzy and kind of make my way towards the door. And as we're doing that, I don't know if Alex knows about the One-Eyed King. I think we've mentioned, me and Simone have talked about him, but I don't know how much she knows about that whole situation or not. But I'm gonna look to Simone and let him know. Since we, and I'm quotation marks again, we can't do anything about the asylum directly in the next couple of days, maybe you should see if they are willing to take over and I'm not finish the job because we did what we were supposed to do, but at the same time, it's a little bigger than we thought it was.
Well, that means I'm gonna have to go see her tomorrow, so I can go and check and see because that op was way bigger than what we can handle. So I can go and see what she can help me with. See if she'll take over.
I mean, it's good to check with them anyway, just to see if our debt is paid, because we kind of need to know that.
Yeah, I will check in with who I need to check in, and I'll see if that's enough, and then I'll pass it over to Spirit and see if she take over, and then I'll be back and let you guys know what the answers are.
Sounds fair. In the meantime, I also think, like I said, I'm going to do the thing for Aiden to get him out the door because I don't think introducing him to Damien will go well for him. Dizzy should be fine as long as we make that a priority because the longer we hide her here, the worse it's going to be for us if we have to have him come to us on his own other than us volunteering that knowledge. So, even though he won't be back until 2 nights from now, I'm still going to reach out and ask for a meeting on our turf when he returns.
And if you could think of a way to perhaps get a vial of blood from me, that might go a long way as a bargaining chip.
Which is also true.
Because other
We
than
also
that,
need
we
to
have
find
no way to
Lucia.
corroborate it. Yeah, Lucio would be nice. He could be helpful in this point. Hopefully one day he comes back around.
All right. So, conversations pushed to their natural conclusion, plans for the next day, plans to violate almost every horror movie's idea and split the party. And it's hard not to see that the decisions need a multiple paths of attack, but it's also very difficult to not see that as, hey, what's out there in the dark? You go this way, I'll go this way. I'm sure the bad guy won't get us this way. The comparison between the plans and being lost in a haunted house or ancient Indian burial ground definitely weighs on everyone as they head to their particular areas to fall dead for the day. Well, is there anything else that you all are doing to prepare for the day's death coming?
Um, I think I'm going to do premonition.
Premonition, you say? Okay.
Yeah, because I want. There's so
Seems a
many
bit
different things going on. I want at least maybe a clearer view of how this whole other shoe might drop. I think I want to be a little more prepared. I know the shoe's going to drop. I want to know how it might fall or what might cause it to fall, basically. So that's what I'm going to focus on.
Okay, excellent. So you head to your suite of rooms and prepare yourself by rousing the blood and staring into the middle space, trying to pierce the veil between this world and the next. Would you be so kind as to go ahead, roll your rouse and your resolve plus aspects? And while Hesher rolls that, Dizzy, would you be so kind as to just roll your humanity for me, please? And tell me what result you get.
Who lowers their humanity?
Dizzy.
I got 7 successes with a crit.
Oh, nicely done. Crits are always nice. Hess, your premonition.
Wait. As you said, wits and aspects.
Premonition actually is resolve plus aspects.
Okay, resolve and aspects. Okay.
So you roll your rouse and then you roll your resolve and aspects, and then let me know what your results are. And while that roll is happening, Dizzy, is there any other ritual or thing that you do to prepare for the day's death? All right, so 4 successes. At this point, there's a portion of whatever's looming over the city, whatever's looming over the coterie, Heshed, that you kind of mentally try to fast forward through. Because you've seen that portion of that near future or that possibility hanging over the city, hanging over the coterie so often you can almost, like a well-watched movie that you've seen several hundred times, you can almost recite it line for line, verbatim, ad nauseum. This time, while it starts the same with the crowns, with the singular dark crown resting atop the other two, with the sound of beasts in the darkness around, and the Harlequin-esque clown juggling these strange symbols, a crown and a scepter and a circle of protection and a rose and a cracked mirror and a mask from the dramatis personae from the ancient Greek, and you're used to it. You fast forward past, you mentally try to push through beyond that because you know this is like the opening of a movie. It's like the opening of a well-watched TV show that you're familiar with. It's the Law and Order xylophone beat, that symbol, that sound that you can recite without even thinking about it. But adding to that, there is something different. There is Clyde running at you, fangs bared. There is Lucio wrestling with something amorphous, some dark shape coated in fresh blood as it tries to consume him. There is Simone being buried at the bottom of a silo, buried by red roses and blue roses and yellow roses and white roses, just pouring seemingly nonstop all over him. There's Alex kneeling in front of a stone that is bleeding as if it has stigmata. There's Dizzy, bat in hand, haircut much like a cyberpunk version of Harley Quinn from the Batman comic book or the Suicide Squad movie. There is you sitting with Karen, watching from behind some seemingly impenetrable glass. And then there's John, laid on a cross, being lifted into the sky by a pack of black dogs. The dogs, as you see, are a strange mix of wolf and something else, but you keep seeing them as dogs, like down to the fact that they're all wearing a collar with a symbol of a crown on it. Then you see the hospital, and you see Cameron walking out of the hospital, a remote control in his hand, and instead of pushing the button on it, he drops the control from his hand. And as it falls, the world falls away. You are completely dead to the world. Dizzy, you're as you bed down, there are no other things that you sought to accomplish, just to get some place safe and crash out, as the coterie that saved you and Aiden seems for all the world as if they are genuine. They are curious as to what has transpired. They are willing to risk themselves to protect you. So you know that at least for now, unless of course things change drastically, you are as safe as can be. However, being as safe as you can be does not mean that you are completely and totally safe. So those survivor traits that have kept you alive on the road as long as they have come to the fore the moment that you hear a scuffling, scuttling sound, and you are torn from the veil of death. Your eyes open, and without meaning to, you reach for gas, your sire, because he's never far, and you realize that no, he's not near at hand. Zeke isn't near at hand. None of the others are near at hand, and that scuffling sound is far too close. So, opening your eyes, you see Aiden climbing down from his bunk and hovering over you for a second. He doesn't realize that you're awake or that you're dead to the world, or at least should be. He shakes your shoulder to see if he can wake you.
I will play dead and see what he does.
Hey, hey, fuck. Diz, I know you had your phone. Diz, fuck. And then he goes to start rifling through your bag looking for your phone.
As he gets into my stuff, I will grab the collar of his shirt.
Hey. I'm just looking for your phone. I know
Why?
I was trying not to do that. But yeah, you're right. I'm out of here. I'll send help once I figure out where this is.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for trying to stand up with me. I won't forget this. Let me go check on my girl. I'll see you.
All right, man. Good luck out there.
And he begins leaving. He keeps trying. He tries one end of the hall, then the next, then the next. You can hear him out there. His footfall, the only thing that echoes back to you. Where are the fucking stairs? Before you know it, death reclaims you. The last thing you catch sound of, finally, echoes back. All right. So next night, everyone, go ahead and give me a rouse roll and see where you are upon awakening. Looks like being hungry is contagious. Everyone's hunger increases by 1, so that should put everyone at 2, correct? Or is anybody higher?
I'm at 3 now because of last night.
Oh, that's right. You share blood with Aiden.
I think I might be hovering around 3 if healing costs blood.
Only if you fail your rouse roll. Did you fail your rouse roll?
Yes, I did.
All right. So you and Hesher are at 3. Alex, you're at 2. Diz, you're at 2. So while the beast while your inner voice isn't kicking down the door or beating on it like police with a no knock warrant, it is presenting itself. It is teasingly testing your willpower. It is brushing against your mental fortitude, making its demands very clear. Blood now. Hestia, Simone, your internal demand to be satiated is considerably more insistent. It is that late night knock with a mag light on the door when you least expect it. It is a very unwelcome presence in your mind, making it very clear that blood comes before everything else. So, starting in alphabetical order, what are we doing upon awakening? Alex?
First thing, going to check on Aiden and Dizzy.
Well, millions everyone's humanity is roughly around the same place. You and Dizzy are up approximately the same time. Dizzy, Alice comes trundling into the area to check on you. What are you guys? What's happening now?
Dizzy is probably sitting up in her little drawer there with a small little makeup mirror, trying to salvage what's left over from the day before there.
All right. So you enter into the morgue, and Dizzy is sitting on her drawer, touching up her makeup, making sure that she looks considerably less dead than she actually is, on the outside at least. And the empty bunk of Aiden.
Where did you? He didn't go
I
use the
didn't.
bathroom, did he?
I didn't do anything. He bugged out, man. At least I'm guessing he found his way out. He tried to get me to go with him, but sun bad, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, if he wants to go out there and take his own chances outside of our protection, then fuck him, I guess.
See, that's what I thought too.
That is definitely one way to tackle the matter. And yes, entirely sawed off. If he's not willing to throw in with the whole and stand in opposition to personal fears, the hell with him and the horse he rode in on. The very real thought that would definitively cross Alexander's mind is much the same as it would be once he presents his information to Hestia and Simone, specifically Simone. There is a security issue with the fact that he eloped.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a way to go looking for him or find him, that would be one thing. But since I don't, and I'm probably at the moment like just finding out a little mad about his ungrateful behavior, then that's my immediate reaction. It's just like, man. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tell Hesty and Simone that Aiden bailed. But not before asking Dizzy if she needs anything. Do you need anything, Dizzy?
I mean, I could eat if you got like a hunting ground or something. I mean, it's not a desperate issue. I can wait too, but you know how it is.
I would ask Hestia about that. I haven't been there that long, but it looks like she's the one usually calling the shots.
That kind of makes sense from from here. I've heard about them, so.
So, do you guys make your way through the haven back to where you last denoted Hestia's suite of rooms being, Alex, or do you leave Dizzy there where she is, 2 floors below ground level in the recessed morgue area where bodies are broken down and disposed of?
I mean, if Dizzy wants to come with, she's welcome too. Because I'm probably heading up to tell Hestia Aiden bailed right now, since she was the one who was working on researching his condition.
I mean, if invited, she'll go, but she's not going to impose. She's still very trying to be the best guest that she could be.
In that case, come along. We may as well knock this question out.
All right, she pops a fresh piece of gum in her mouth and says, "Cool."
All right, so you two um, make your way through the haven to our next alphabetical coterie member, Hestia. The premonition was unsettling, the deeper portions of it, because, like all premonitions, it is shrouded in an enigma and a mystery using symbols that make sense but don't make sense. And what it stands for may not be what it actually physically stands for. But lo and behold, you awaken, especially due to your increased humanity, just after the sun begins its descent. So you've had time to rest, wash, cleanse, and dress for the evening. As you're heading out of your suite of rooms to head to the library, Alexander and Dizzy appear at your door, well, on the floor where your suites are.
He ran away, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I was going to come and tell you. I'm gonna go tell Simone. While I'm doing that, Dizzy has a question for you, and I'm gonna go leave to head to Simone's room.
Sure. Okay. Well, Dizzy, you want to come with me to the library? I'll show you the way, and then I can explain anything you want me to. I'm a little disappointed that he ran away, but part of me kind of wondered what would happen if we were all dead to the day and he was the only one awake. Can't really
He
say I
wanted to
blame
make
him.
some phone calls.
Hmm.
I put a kibosh on that. He just left.
Well, if he can actually find his way clear of here and make it safely wherever he's trying to go, then he's welcome to it. But if he does attempt to bring anybody back here and cause us any sort of harm, well, it won't be good for him. Let's just say that. I'm not going to get into it otherwise. Anyway, to the library then.
Full disclosure on that, he may have indicated that he might send some people to help me.
But you don't really need help, do you?
Well, I mean, I don't feel like I need help, but he felt like I needed help.
He lost my thin blood and a little bit stupid. So, there's that.
Simone, you awaken for the evening. Your beast, very much insistent upon blood. You rouse yourself and you complete your evening's preparations. And as you are just about ready, Alex is at your door of your suites.
Does he look like he's anxious about something?
No, he's pretty placid, typically. Alex doesn't show much. He lives more in his mind than he does on his face.
What brings you this way, Alex? Something happened?
Well, Aiden decided to run off. He
Of
decided
course
not
he did.
only did he not need our protection, and that he would be better on his own, but apparently he might have thought he was being kept prisoner here, and I
Of
guess
course
just
he
didn't
did.
trust us. So he ran off to the big wide world of monsters on his own, outside of our protection, and I don't really have a way to track him down. Which means that my plan for today of going to track down his girl or whatever is over. So I'm pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, at your disposal for whatever you want to do today.
Okay. Um, I have a couple of errands to run. Low variety, low danger errands. I would like you to do me a favor though. Keep an eye out for this area because we are um, we are pretty exposed right now. If he shows up with any people, let me know, and I'll get back here as soon as I can. But there are certain people I have to go meet with really quickly, and um, yeah, I got to go meet a few people, and then I'll be right back. but also I have to go feed.
So just stay here and keep an eye out for people coming in.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for anybody who comes in who looks suspicious, undead, or anybody who doesn't look like they belong, or either don't belong but belong way too well. And I will be back in about, hopefully, about an hour or two.
All right, I will do just that until you're done with your non-dangerous errands, as you call them.
All right. So, back in the library, Hessia, what research are you attempting to do?
She just stepped away from the keyboard.
Oops, I didn't have open play open. All right. So, Hestia stepped away, sliding down. Uh, Dizzy is with Hestia. Alex, would you be so kind as to roll your wits and investigation? Alex,
Yes, sorry.
your wits and investigation. And while Alex is rolling that, someone go ahead and roll your charisma and subterfuge for me. Aiden's an idiot. And that thought occurs to you in more than one way as you, as per your usual, analyze everything that's come before. One of the things that he kept mentioning and, well, let slip various ways is that his life revolved around dealers and his girl who he thought he was guileful and deceitful enough to disguise the fact that his sire and his girl are one and the same. Um, Dealing blood is kind of a niche market. There are a few people that operate in that realm. Drug dealers are a little more prevalent, there are more of them and easier to find. But based on the fact that he mentioned working as an EMT or emergency tech and dealers, the U of I Medical Center is one of the largest medical areas in the city of Chicago, outside of the few outliers. It typically, if you worked anywhere, it would probably be there, and if not there, that would still be one of the areas that the few blood dealers that you've heard of would operate out of. So tracking him down the long way would definitely be something that would be within your wheelhouse.
I don't know. If he wanted to take his safety into his own hands, that doesn't feel important enough to try to do alone. If I, had company or support on that, it'd be like a different story. But it just doesn't feel important enough to try to do alone.
Completely fair, completely understand. All right, and Simone, you reach out and cast a wide net. Unfortunately for you, as you send out your dating network text message blast, the first person to respond is Sunithia. Second person to respond, you're not sure who they are because they don't respond with any of the typical genitally generated text message and thirst trap responses that were assigned to that number. So meeting and connecting with some of your network of associates and friends with certain benefits is fairly easily done, but the reminder of how bad things can become also comes with that first round of reach out. What do you do? Do you respond to Sunithia?
Yes. That one seems the most safe option.
So you reach out to Sunithia, or do you reach out to the others when you get your responses? As per usual, you get more than one response. Because it has been a couple of days since you reached out. They do come fairly promptly.
Okay. I'm going to reach out to the because I can get more blood from. I can get 3 from 2 versus getting 2 from 1.
So you're going to try to initiate a low-level orgy, or are you going to try to schedule 2 and 3 in succession?
3. Well, 3 in rapid succession if I can help it.
It's a little more difficult, but nothing without effort. In your scheduling 3, you go ahead and give me a resolve and composure roll. Let's let the dice gods decide. All right, not a complete success, but definitely far better than you were expecting. Edward and his wife were friends that go back a few years. They are an active part of the Chicago Swingers network. In fact, they've held more parties in their East Village neighborhood in their nice, quiet condo than most people, more people than you've actually dealt with. They promptly have 2 to 3 friendly get-togethers per week. More during the summer when everyone's out and about, but even now they are going with at least 3 per month. So connecting with them isn't all that difficult. What is actively trying on your conscience is the fact that when you get there, Sanithia, who should still be in a hospital, is already at their place. When you conclude with Edward's wife, Sandra, and are easing yourself from their master bedroom, Sanithia comes out of the guest bedroom where the sounds of partying can clearly be heard. Her neck is in a brace. She's wearing a splint on her left arm and a full cast on her right. Her knee has been locked in place with a hip brace because of how much damage she received last time she entertained and what befell her. You knew from the injuries that she was left with that she'd be lucky to be on her feet once more. Unfortunately, as she closes the door, you detect the very real and pressing scent of blood. She smiles and wipes her mouth. Oh, look at who decided to show up.
The blood, is it coming from her mouth or from just all her being?
Well, it's clear that they probably should have opened the room in the guest bedroom, but whoever she was partying with, they didn't think that far ahead, and the scent is hard to discern whether it's from her mouth or the room or a combination of the two.
Look who made it to the party. And girls like got a little excited in there. What's been going on for me?
Not much, just practicing a few of those moves you show.
I see that. So, how you been getting on?
She smiles. And would you be so kind as to roll your composure and intelligence for me, please?
How many points in hunger do I have? 2, 1, or 3?
You were at 3. You're at 2 now. You could be at 1, but I doubt it if you wanted to play with Edward directly.
Not really, no. Okay.
Sanithia was always beautiful. She was always attractive. She was always struck that itch, that last remaining portion of from your living days. She has even now, as labored and beat up as she is, has that classic early century beauty that made men cross the country to get married. It is very hard to look away from her. And it's very hard to not want to watch her, even with her hobbled as she is. It takes you a second to realize that she's gotten closer to you. Now, Simone, there's no point of you staying away. I'm all right. Everything worked out really well. You should come in and play with us, she says. And perfectly honest, knowing that most kindred don't start getting active until much later in the evening, that should still give you another hour or two before you really have to start, getting things accomplished.
You know, you get incredibly lucky, but just that now, have you ran across any who will give you tutelage?
That broke up a little bit.
Seymour asked her, has she ran across anyone who's willing to give her tutelage?
Nobody but you. Speaking of you and me and us, she rests a hand against your chest. The three young ladies inside would most assuredly be better off learning from the master himself instead of just me, his humble student, especially as out of sorts as I am right now. Why don't you come on in? You can make a little time for us.
That I can. Let me go, let's go. Sure, that seems like a great idea. Start looking at them to see if are they eating or are they being fed?
You head into the room, and there are three young ladies. And the best way to describe them would be the very definition of wanton sexuality in various states of repose, catching their breaths, and the very real after effects of blade play taking a hair too far apparent. Your nose fills with the scent of lovely, sanguine, subtly sweet blood. If not for the thin veneer of control that you have, you would definitively ravish them within an inch of your life. Because it's clear that Sanithia, even as damaged as she is, has been quite taxing to the three inside. Hobbled as she is, she rests her hands again against your deltoids and lightly glides across your bicep, all but stroking in her caress. Now, Simone, girls, this is Simone, she says, by way of introduction, and opening the remainder of her robe that barely concealed. We still kind of go ahead and things it was a tie. Go ahead and roll once more. Shaking your head, you're able to really focus on what's happening, what could be happening, or what could be taking place. And while you do need to feed, it is clear that these three young ladies have already taxed themselves extraordinarily thus far. The reality of the issue is you know that if you give in, that you are playing with fire. There's a very real chance that you will lose yourself to that barely contained hedonistic aspect of your persona. Because when you're getting what you want, it's hard to say no to getting more. And right here, you know that these three and Tanithia will give you all they have plus that one drop more. Everyone thinks that being a good top or a good dom is in being alpha. The truth of the matter is all the power is in the bottom or the sub. And these young ladies don't have the good sense that the good Lord gave them and the ability to say no. They will continue giving if Simone is willing to play. What will he do?
He turns back to Snoopy. You, you've already texted me too much. Be careful. Call me later. We'll talk. But I have to go home. Done. You already used up the thing.
They just need a breather. You don't have to leave.
How about I call you tomorrow? And we can
Tomorrow's
play.
tomorrow's a different day. If you don't want to play with us, I understand. They're not ready.
They're not quite ready, but some. So, Simone leads and starts trying to figure out how to contact the One-Eyed King. Go back to the building to see like the last thing the One-Eyed King.
Okay, so you're heading downtown. And while you begin making your way from the East Village back down into the loop, into the West Lawn area, Hestia, Dizzy, you guys are in the library. What was it that you're seeking to look over, to look up?
I think I need a minute out of character. I really I need a minute. Okay, I'm better now. Yeah. So now, I mean, she's still kind of curious about what book she might have about Thin Blood, so that she knows what's kind of true and what's not. But for the most part, that kind of tosses that out of the night. She's gonna look at Disney and go, I was about to go hunting, and I've seen what you can do, and I'm betting you're probably hungry, so we probably do better together than alone if we wanted to do the whole wink wink lesbian lovers looking for a possible guy situation.
I mean, I'm down for that. I mean, that's like what I do. That was like I've fed like 4 other dudes for years now.
That you have. A little easier to just to take it with a modicum of less force, with having more people all in. Hunting alone, strangely enough, is a scary prospect. To be perfectly honest, it goes from pack style hunting and culling from the herd of humanity to having to do it all alone. It's a big adjustment. Luckily, Disney's made of sterner stuff than that, and Hestia has a few secrets up her sleeve. I do forget Dizzy's predator type. What's her preferred flavor of blood consumption?
She is a siren.
Aha. Well, that being the case, and being fresh in town into a new city, Izzy, go ahead and roll your charisma and subterfuge, and Hess, go ahead and roll your manipulation persuasion. Which side of town are you going to take her to try to engage in a little blood obtaining, a little sport hunting, as it were? Hess? Hess, you going to go ahead and make your hunting roll for me?
Manipulation and what?
Manipulation and persuasion. And what side of town are you taking? This like the vest. All right. So it's been a while since you've gone down your usual track of hunting. Your network of friendly bartenders, servers, waitresses, and what have you. So, Asher, you and Dizzy find yourselves at Union Station. There are a few bars and nightlife that, much like the city itself, never sleeps. There's always some employee, gas, or some person that shouldn't be there that is. You find yourselves in one of the many quiet, busy bars there at Union Station. The ride from Rogers Park downtown isn't all that scenic as far as things go, especially being as you take the red line down and walk over. But once there, the pressures of the last few days present themselves. You all find a group of businessmen who are looking for a lot of fun time before they head off to their various middle income homes or mansions in the suburbs via the metro. Um, the beast has broken through the surface due to the stress that you've been put upon by the weight of all of the things that hang in the balance. By the very real fact that Simone has rubbed off on you, there is a very real pressing security issue and risk with Aiden having left of his own volition and made his way into the city during daylight hours. All of that comes due as you find yourself alone in the stall, one stall over from Dizzy, as you both have obtained potential victims. You, would you be able to describe how Hessian Beast rises to the fore? And as you begin taking what you need, is there anything or is there any steps that Hester is going to attempt to take to keep from taking the last drop?
What I'm assuming happens is she has a very light leash on the beast. It's almost to the point where she can feel it slipping, but she goes ahead anyway. Gets him in a position of him not being able to get away right off the bat, and sinks Fang into his inner thigh. And she's not neat about it either. It takes her the first couple gulps before she's really screaming back into herself and trying to. It's like a mental image of the person that is Hestia jumping on the beast and trying to like bear hug it to pull it back to keep herself from taking that last bit of it, this man's life.
Okay, so are you going to spend the willpower to force yourself to gain immediate distance, or are you going to attempt to fight it without pushing the entirety of her will behind it?
That one's a hard one because I don't know where her will is right now. It's been a little low lately with all the stuff going on, so she might not even really have enough willpower to boost that urge to pull away. It would definitely have to be a wherewithal and just absolute disgust at taking a life that's unnecessarily for this to stop.
Okay. It is a relatively high save factor, but go ahead with your resolve and composure and see if you can establish a distance enough where it will not be immediately pressing as the hot, rich, thick blood that is very near arterial is coating her tongue as she is inches from this young man's virility and the very real aspect that he is experiencing pleasure that he has never felt before and is willing to ride that wave as far as he's willing to go because he thinks he's strong enough to swim back to shore.
How many hunger am I putting?
You are at 3, you'd automatically be at 2, and no, just add 1 hunger. You've begun satiating yourself The beast is quietly whispering, urging you on, feeling the youth drain down your throat. You are able to tear yourself free, and it really is a tear. You are mentally dragging yourself, kicking and screaming away from the fountain of everlasting pleasure and youth. It is all that you can do, and you slam back against the inside of your stall door, hearing and smelling not just the pleasure of this young man, but Dizzy, who is in the next stall over. You didn't realize just how animalistic you were until you look at the scar that your fangs tearing free of his left. The look on his face looks as if he's run a marathon through heaven's gates. Dizzy. Being at two, the the urging of the beast isn't nearly as loud nor strong, but it definitely tempted you. You gained your fill, and he thinks that he's had a good time with a good time girl inside of this lovely Union Station restaurant. Even the animalistic growls that escaped from the stall next door didn't stop him from giving himself to you. The slam, however, was something different. Diz, did we lose you?
Nope, I'm here. What's up?
What are you, how are you? The very real fact that it sounded like two wolves having their way with each other next door while you were gaining your very precious blood.
Well, I'm going to feel like I need to probably check on that. So I'm going to get out of my stall as quickly as possible.
As you make it to Hesh's stall, which is literally a second or two after you felt that there should be some action or maybe some assistance to help her, she slams against the door and you can see her small frame leaning against the door. You can't see past her, but the fact that she's established a distance and the bathroom smells not only of, public facility use, but of very, very rich and thick blood. The air is heavy with it.
I will knock on the stall door and go, hey, are the drugs going bad in there, or what's up?
You get a very shaky reply of, "We'll be out in a minute, but I think we need to go." And she is going to reach for his tie and tie it around his leg to kind of staunch the flow of blood. And kind of lick the wound a little bit, trying to see what it's done. And then very much backs out.
To add injury to insult, as you crouch to lick the wound, and yes, it is as dirty as it sounds, and he is lost in the moment, thinking that not only did he get lucky, he got the luckiest he's ever been in his entirety of his, young-ish life.
She doesn't care. She doesn't care if she's focused on the heck out of there.
All right. So, satiated. Where are you guys heading?
I don't want to leave Dizzy exposed too much outside because I never know who's watching. At least until we can get her introduced. So the safest bet might be back to the Haven, but then right about the time I'm guessing I get the text from Simone FML.
Yes.
Text him back.
Very much so. Alex, everyone's gone. Well, you're watching the Haven, and you get Simone's text just as you remember the engagement you had with Forcipulus there in the triage clinic area of the shelter, which doesn't exist anymore because of what damage you all did to it. It hasn't been rebuilt yet. But one of the many humans that suffered in battle with Forcipulus before you all made it back to the clinic area is Mr. Green, Mike Green. He's a modern day Viking. He is 6'5" if he's an inch, and a walking wall of hardened, hard-lived survivor muscle. His beard looks like it has his own area code. He was beaten within an inch of his life 3 days prior. He was on death's door. Not only was he on the doorstep, but he was loudly, with steel toes, attempting to kick the door open. He comes in, his arms slung high and tight, his face a mass of frowns. And if he was alone, he still would have cut a very interesting figure, but he's not. There are two other similarly muscled mountains of homeless flesh that are walking through the door. Now, while Mike's a known fixture and you recognize him from the previous instance, the fact that he's not alone and it's not faces that you remember seeing is another matter entirely. What are you doing?
So these big muscular homeless guys just
swaddled in dirty, disgusting rags of clothing that is clearly army surplus, but in this case it's more not surplus. It's probably their BDUs that they had during their time in service. They very much look as if they've survived wars.
do they look suspicious, or do they look like, they're supposed to be there and they come there regularly?
Outside of Mike, the other two look very suspicious because one such person is thing and a face that you recognize, but then three similarly dressed combatants, because that's the one thing, that's the running thread of that spider sense is tingling. These are clear cut combatants. They are warriors, and he's leading into the shelter.
Are they walking towards me, or are they just
entering the shelter? They're looking for someone.
Gotcha. I'm just gonna, for now, keep an eye on them and send a text to Simone that says suspicious activity spotted. Get back ASAP. Might need backup.
All right, and with that text, we're going to take a quick break. Mother Nature calls. I will see you guys back here in 10:26, well, 11:26, depending on where you guys are. So see you back in 10 minutes. Everybody back?
I'm here.
Excellent.
I'm here.
All right. So, Simone, you back? Does not seem to be the case. All right. So, texts go out to Simone, and while that's happening, Dizzy, there's just breathing on the line, just breathing, and she can hear the click, clack, 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 clack of a keyboard in quick action.
She hangs up right away.
All right. Her phone rings again, and the text comes through. Answer.
She replies in text, "I did, creeper. You didn't say anything, so fuck off."
The next text. Sorry. Didn't realize. Answer. And her phone rings again.
She just turns the phone off at this point.
Hestia next to her this whole time and has just now almost fallen to her knees with what's going on at the Haven, because she can feel it. Stumbles to her feet, looks at Dizzy, and reaches for the phone like with a clawed hand. She is going to take it and hug it if she gets a hold of it.
Dizzy, do you hand over the phone?
Dizzy will not hand over the phone. However, are we in a car or whatever we're doing, she will huck the phone herself.
Okay. Chucking the phone out of the window, things become very, very apparent. Would you guys both of you roll your wits and awareness as you guys are waiting on the train, of course. It's the safest way to get from Union Station back to your area of the city, back to your domain. And you can use wits and awareness, or if you have a higher streetwise, it would be wits and streetwise. The CTA, Chicago Transit Authority, while it has recently in the last decade upgraded its security, one of the most consistent factors of their security for the last 50 years has been the prevalence of undercover officers who patrol the various stations. Usually they're quite good at blending in with the average downtown crowd. However, late night partiers, they tend to stand out a little bit, and as the platform is predominantly only lightly bodied with people, they stand out even more. And as Dizzy had been texting and answering and listening and then texting, just before she tosses her phone, she can see that three of the clearly official, yet attempting to not seem as such, people on the platform are looking. They're moving together. One shorter Latinx woman moving as point. The larger white woman backing her up, and then a relatively chubby-looking gentleman of indiscriminate race is pulling up the wing as they move along the platform. They're clearly searching for someone. They all stop, look at their phones, and start scanning the crowd, almost as if they're attempting to pick up a signal or look at and see if they can figure out or find who they're looking for. Both you and Hestia notice that due to your time as kindred of being watched, of being followed, the old ways of direct in-person surveillance being utilized like, stand out to you. It triggers your spidey senses. It makes you aware of when someone is hunting near at hand. And that's exactly what these three are doing. And there's clearly undercover officers of some sort.
I will grab Hestia's sleeve and very quietly say, maybe another train station would be good.
How long do we have before the train gets here?
40 seconds. You can see us light down the track as it's leaving Clark and Lake Station, heading to you guys.
No time, but we'll keep an eye.
All right.
All right. Do you guys attempt anything to disguise yourselves? Do you close to other group of people? Do you or are you just standing where you are?
No, being relatively short. I don't know how tall Dizzy is, but Hestia is pretty short. She's short but curvy, so she's used to looking for a pocket of taller people, like maybe men in a group, and she's going to kind of work them towards that so that they put that group of taller men between them and the cops.
All right. Roll your manipulation and subterfuge.
And Dizzy will put her hood up in case they're looking for, they have a description of her or something.
Hestia, add a die to you.
Okay, manipulation and what?
Subterfuge. And while you're giving me that roll, Alexander, the three men who enter into the haven, they are here for the smoke. They're here for all the smoke. And they're going from bed to bed, from alcove to alcove. They're looking for someone and are taking no short. They look under beds and closets. They're looking in all the public areas of the shelter with such a direct and dedicated attempt to search the shelter. It would be almost impossible for them to not find at least one of the entrances to the actual coterie's haven, if not stopped. Hesher, you and Dizzy disappear in a crowd as...
So I should probably go over and talk to them.
You don't have to. They can find the entrance to the haven. What are they gonna do with it, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna waltz over and be like, and cross my arms. Say, you guys looking for something?
Mike, his arm in a sling, is clearly the mouthpiece. The other two, big one, has the hood pulled all the way up and is wearing what looks like a very dirty balaclava underneath the hood. Yeah, we're looking for the broad that broke my arm. Broad that nearly killed us. The one that's a danger to everyone else here.
Well, if she is here, you're gonna have to wait until she leaves to take up any business you want with her. There's no, shit play in the shelter. We don't really tolerate fighting here, so...
Yeah, I know. We're just
You
gonna
guys
drag
can either
her.
relax, or I can call the cops.
Sorochi won't let you do that.
Okay, I see we have some mutual friends. In that case, tell me a bit about who you're looking for.
The naked woman that was lifted. The naked woman that called. This. And he nods towards his arm, his leg, and the fact that he still has labored breathing now. We can find her with your help. And we can find her after we help you out of the way.
Do you have a name?
No. She came in half dead. She left with all of us being half dead. I looked for her at the hospital. They said which means she'd come back here.
Oh, are you talking about the woman who was fighting here?
Yes.
I'm afraid she's definitely not here. She kind of didn't make it through the altercation. If you
You're
catch
gonna
my
sit
drift.
here. You're gonna sit here and lie to me. I told you I checked the hospital. She left under her own volition. You could swear that you just heard a muffled growl coming from the gentleman who was wearing.
Hey, I kind of lagged out for a second there. Whoopsies.
Yeah, no worries. Technology is a wonder.
Yeah. So I heard a muffled growl from the guy in the balaclava.
Oh yeah, the gentleman with the hood up and what looks to be a very dirty balaclava on underneath. It's a little dark. It's even harder. It's even difficult for you to see through that murk and maze. But that's what it seems like to you. Like he's wearing a balaclava underneath.
Okay, well, believe me or don't, last time I saw her, she was a little limp and cold. Somebody else in the shelter freaked out because of the altercation that was going on and thought it would be best to hit her really hard on the head. And that cracked her skull open and she didn't make it.
There's an eerie coolness that settles over the back of Alexander's neck. His hair would be standing on end if he was still alive. You felt that a lot in the last couple of days. You actually were beginning to hope that you wouldn't feel it at all tonight, but yet here it is. The gentleman in the hood rests a hand on Mike's shoulder and takes a step forward. As he does, you're able to pierce the darkness in his hood just a little bit. You will tell us where, or he lowers his voice. One leg to another, I'll make sure you never rise again.
I'm just gonna whisper back. I'm sorry, but all I can tell you is to check the cemetery.
And Simone, you're heading downtown to Westtown area. It's a fairly affluent neighborhood. The building is still there. The shooting gallery that you all know exists because of your connection with the homeless of the city is one of the many places where denizens of the shelter get lost for days at a time, especially those still suffering with the full weight of their addiction. The fact that it has managed to exist in one of the more affluent areas of the city as a monument to corruption, negligence, malfeasance, the very nature of kindred society says many things about the city and about the powers that be who really runs the city. Making your way in is far easier than taking candy from a baby. Unfortunately, it's not necessarily the most welcoming of places and not a place that you would like to continue spending time in the least, because while what you all do as kindred is dark, it's dank, but it does serve a purpose. You all thin the herd, you cold weak, you take the darkness that exists in the city and you're moving from the board, usually through death, sometimes from simply existing in the same paradigm as you all do. This is not one of those places. This is a place where dreams come to die. This is a place where happiness has never set foot. You're not sure that even sunlight has made its way into this place at any point of the day. And you happen upon a few members in the midst of some meeting. They look you up and down. You're not sure who really is the hunter and who is the prey in this particular situation because they are just that down and out where death may be a reward instead of incentive to not continue doing whatever dirt they've been doing.
Look at that. Now, am I right in the assumption that they are citizens of this area and by default something to do with what I think?
You broke up a little, but it's clear that these are regulars of this particular shooting gallery. It's still early enough in the evening where those who are not completely down and out are out hustling to make money for whatever drug of choice that they're going to use to wipe their minds for the remainder of the evening. So those who are still able to sell their bodies are out doing so. Those who are able to still break into cars and various other places are out doing so to earn their daily bread. These are the people that are too far gone to sell themselves openly, too far gone to engage in a little bit of mindless vandalism and robbery. These are the folks that are the bottom barrel of the bottom barrel that exists here in this shooting gallery.
Okay. Any of them have OIK tattoo?
You'd have to get close enough to inhale their scent to do so.
Yeah, not doing that. I won't pass them. There's nothing that they can give to me at this point besides VD, so I'm gonna keep going.
Every time that you've managed to be here, and you've only managed to be here once before, at least on the inside, it's a testament to just how far a person can fall, and it's infectious. It's like swimming through a sewer. It sticks to you. It clogs the nose. It makes everything else seem cleaner by default. And the deeper you go into the building, the worse it feels. And then a person, because you're not sure whether it's male or female, combination of the two, or even if it actually quantified as a person. But it's about 5 foot nothing, covered in enough clothing to survive a nuclear blast. Its eyes bright and bigger than anything you've seen, complete pie throws itself in your path. You gotta pay the toll to keep, to be here, to get a bed. What do you got?
I don't want a bed. I want to have a message delivered.
Well, postman rings twice, but you still gotta buy a stamp. What do you got?
What it cost?
Your left shoe.
You want my left shoe to deliver a message?
Yes.
How about this if I give you $10?
Are your shoes only worth $10?
Yeah,
20. You got a deal.
that's right. Give him a $20 bill.
Takes the bill. It checks it by running his thumbnail across the jacket, and you hear that scraping bump, 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 bump to verify that it's actually real, and it disappears the bill into its clothing. You say pocket, but that's not quite what happened. And it runs off into the darkness. Instead of going further in, it runs back past you. Moments later, the lights overhead come on, and you hear groans and "Cut the damn lights off!" And then they're off.
During that flash, did I meet anyone or did they just basically blinded you when you turned like that off?
You see a lot, and you wish you didn't. People are using the darkness to obfuscate their various states of dress and the various actions that they're in the midst of. Because of the sheer amount of olfactory waste that's in the air, the scent of their actions are obfuscated. The lights took away all of that darkness from them, and you get vibrated as your phone vibrates with a message from Alexander.
Look at the message. Realize that I really don't have a lot of time left. Then I start heading back towards the door. Gotta get back to the hay.
As you are heading out, a police car pulls up. You know it's a police car even though it's unmarked based on the light from the computer screen on the front dash. Out steps the gentleman that you only called the driver. You know he has a name. It wasn't spoken, but he steps out, his hair slicked back, his goatee immaculately cut, and dressed as ever in a two-piece of looking for all the world like a TV police detective. His very carriage screams official police business.
I step into the shadow. You yourself, hoping that this lunch will not plan to him, but I should because I like a back.
Okay. Roll your dexterity stealth.
But I'm still like 200, right?
Hmm?
I'm still like 200.
Yes. As you slip away from the doorway and into the darkness, circumventing all normal thought patterns in terms of trying to pick you out of darkness, he calls out, Nora said he received your text.
Step back into don't step in the shadow. So, are we done?
No.
What do you mean now? You guys want me to do the deed? Deed's done. What do you mean?
Is the person who was responsible for the kidnapping dead? Was there a scene created pointing towards something other than kindred? No. The sheriff didn't even investigate. There's no call of alarm. The point of asking you to accomplish this task was so that one, the purpose of the disappearances would be brought to an end. The government would be focused outward away from the kindred, providing an alibi to you and us. And most importantly, the huge explosion of young, unclaimed, unaligned kindred would be brought officially before the primogen. Somehow, in the last few weeks, there's been a culling that happened outside of Chicago's borders. There's been an attack against a member of the primogen. And purportedly, the werewolves are getting up in arms, which is the opposite of what we were hoping. The lupines are not supposed to be aware of anything happening until the primogen are making their moves against them. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So no, we're not done.
Was explained to me it was to violently dispose of the person or persons still kidnapping children. Violently killed happened. No one
Not
wanted me to bring attention. No one offered that. No one asked that. That was never on the table. So unless you guys have a different idea that you want to do, you can't actually change these right now. It appears that you are calling an audible and changing the actual rules of the deal. The deal was to murder someone violently before kidnapping them. The nurse was kidnapped. No, she died violently.
the nurse was not kidnapping.
Who was it?
One of the kindred that are part of the Malkavians group therapy. We're not sure. It's the reason why you were tasked with ending the person.
I did. Nurse
You
Ratchet and
you
her
ended their ghouls. You ended their ghoul and set the entire city in alarm. But NECA is not Chicago, so it's a little easier to cover up, but it requires more effort because they're not Chicago. They're not Chicago. And so the cost of your actions far exceeded your almost success. No, we're not done. But I'm a little busy. I have a meeting to get to. By the way, why are you here?
I'm here because I wanted to make sure that that was done. I have some room, and so that I can actually do more because that job was way outside of my group pay scale. We barely made it out alive.
You're not alive to begin with, and it wasn't outside of your pay scale. You're supposed to kill one of the Malkavians or all of the Malkavians and make it look like when Lupine did it. That didn't happen.
If you point me to who you want me to kill and give me intel that's worth it down, I'll bring your body. If you give me decent or non-existent intel, then you have me kill randomly. Pick what you want next time and give me the intel that I need. You gave me nothing left.
If I didn't have a meeting, we could have this conversation. But this conversation, the intel that you're asking for would have come if you hadn't been so insolent. Get gone.
Reach out to me with intel next time. I got something to do. Run back to the Haven. Or drive back to the Haven.
Dizzy, Hestia, the train, unlike most things in Chicago, is fairly on time. You all blend in with the crowd that are stepping on. You are awash in the scent of rail whiskey and other sundry alcohols in lieu of cologne, and the undercover officers don't board the train. It doesn't take you long to make it back to the Haven, but as you do, Hestia, it's always good to come home, except for when Forcipulus is apparent. You can feel the avarice, the greed, and the hunger of Forcipulus before you even enter into the Haven. Dizzy, when you were here before, left, you didn't leave through the shelter, but as you all step off the train, Hestia is leading you through the shelter portion of the Haven, which opens back through various doors into the actual Haven. It is no small thing to enter into the Haven and see Alexander standing down three very large and very angry backs, all of them similarly dressed in washed out, dirty and dingy BDUs and army surplus. To say that the moment seems tense would be an understatement. What are you guys doing?
Well, I will look to Hestia because I have no idea if this is out of the ordinary. I mean, it seems out of the ordinary, but it's hard to tell.
Okay, looks like we lost Hestia for... there you go. Hest, do we have you back?
Sorry about that. Discord was being Discord. Anyway, so yeah, she nods to Dizzy that this is definitely not normal. Marches her small self in her little bondage get up to the... Actually, she does. Wouldn't she know Mike? Or she
Yes.
recognize Mike?
Yes, she does.
Looks at Mike. What is the meaning of this, and who are these people?
The screen. We're looking for the troublemaker.
Well, obviously she's not here, and she wouldn't be allowed back here after what happened. Did you bring a threat to my shelter? Mike, seriously?
I got responsibilities. And it's not a
Yeah,
threat
well,
to the
so do
shelter.
I.
He is not a threat to the shelter. He's here to protect and help with my responsibilities to protect us. That didn't happen. You all brought
I put my
the threat
finger
to
up.
us.
I look at Alexander. Were they threatening you?
I mean, they were mostly just asking questions. And I wink at the kindred and the balaclava.
Well, did you get the answer to your questions?
Yeah,
Well, then you
you
have a
all.
good evening and leave. Bye.
That's not gonna happen without that one. And he points at Alex. He just informed me that the person that did this died.
I don't know
The
what happened to
person.
her after she left the hospital.
How do you know she left the hospital?
I have my ways.
So you're okay with a rogue kindred with a hunger for the
Wait,
homeless is
hold on.
free.
Rogue, what now?
I didn't stutter. A rogue kindred. What do you call something that's died and gets up and walks away?
At that moment, there is a what the fuck Simone phase happening. Once it hits her and she puts two and two together because she didn't know that part. So she's looking at him and goes, okay, no, I'm not okay with that. But she is obviously not here, and I wouldn't be hiding her here. So you being here, looking for her, is not going to help anybody. Now I'm going to ask you one more time. You should leave.
You want me to leave?
Well, you've been
I'll
here. I
leave.
want them to leave.
No, you don't get it. Says the kindred in the balaclava. And he rolls the balaclava back from his face. And yeah, there is nothing remotely human about the lower portion of his face. There's nothing remotely human about his seeming. If without the balaclava, it is clear that this kindred is the very opposite of human.
She rolls her eyes because she's not scared of him even in the littlest. And she's like, look, I tried to give you a chance. But it's very clear that you are not guests here.
I don't need to be a guest. But if I
I looked
leave,
very pointedly to where I'm expecting our friend to be in the room.
there's a coolness that falls over everyone. Simone, you get back right now. You walk through the door of the shelter. Mike is standing side by side with two other larger men, all dressed in military gear. When you step through the shelter, into the shelter, and back past a few of the beds where Hestia is standing, staring them down with Alex backing her play, forming a line. It's clearly an us versus them moment. The lights flicker. The air grows cold as if you just walked into a freezer. Mike's head snaps towards the ceiling as if someone stuck a red hot poker up his spine.
Everybody, stop. Yeah, what's going on? Why are we at the...
You've heard the voice that comes out of Mike before, but never coming from Mike. You've heard it inside your... It has lived with you. Well, I'm about to make sure that these non-guests leave and never return. Dizzy, you're not sure exactly what happened to the big guy that has a beard that would make most Vikings jealous. But as his head snaps toward the ceiling, his eyes roll to the backs, and when they come back into place, there's a cool, sickly yellow radiating out of them. And he addresses Simone exactly as I just stated. Alexander, you've seen this before. The last time this happened, you had to stake the person that was being wielded like a puppet. The Nosferatu who Abba looks from Mike to you, Simone, and, well, Looks like we're gonna dance.
No. If Hestia tells you to leave, then leave, or you're gonna get carried out. You're infringing on our property, and you are breaking tradition. So if she tells you to leave, then leave, or you're gonna get carried out. Your choice.
No, let me do it, says Mike with a voice that you've ever heard inside your head. Nosferatu looks at Mike, curious. Green, are you in there? Not at all. Are they not guests any longer, Hestia?
They never were. And I tried to very clearly warn them to leave.
Mike kicks through the Nosferatu. The other gentleman hops on his back and tries to bear him to the ground. The Nosferatu, unfortunately, just like you all is undead. So a kick designed to shatter his insides doesn't really matter much to him. What is everyone's actions?
I stepped back out of the fray.
The other one who jumped on Mike's back, is he also kindred or is he not?
Based on looks, he's probably kind, but much like Mike, he's considerably hardier as he's this particular Nosferatu's much like Mike. So, yeah.
I separate the Nosferatu and Mike, leaving the other kind like doing no killing in the entity period. And I stand between them. You leave or you deal with me. Your choice.
Dizzy, Alexander.
Well, Dizzy's not much of a fighter, but she's gonna back these people up because they've shown her nothing but kindness in the last 24 hours.
All right.
I didn't quite hear what Simone did. He was kind of cutting out for me a bit. Who is he focusing on again?
He's stepping between the Nosferatu and Mike and trying to break them up before things get horrible. The third member of that triptych had hopped onto Mike's back. Dizzy is siding with you all. She's stepping closer to Hestia, who's herself out of immediate physical harm, but it's still close enough for any vampire to get to, honestly.
Dizzy will actually put herself between the fray and Hestia.
All right. Alex?
I assume that the one who jumped on Mike's back is wearing a jacket, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna go and try to grab him by the jacket and pull him off of Mike into the floor.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. So, really simply, directly, everything, because with Simone's speed, he's there as the leap is happening and breaking them up, giving his spiel about carrying this outside, no harm inside the shelter. Hestia takes a step back. Dizzy steps between her and the combatants, these three large men, one of which is a Nosferatu, two of which are ghouls, one being possessed by the spirit of your haven, as it were. And it's not a very nice or comfortable situation to be in for anyone. It's clear that they care about some portion of the population that your shelter serves, militantly so. And up until recently, Mike has been a protector of the shelter as well. The outcome of the fight isn't really all that important, considering that for the most part, especially with Simone claiming vocally and verbally the right of domain, Juanica is a little cowed. Not much, but a little, because this is twice now that domain has been called, which means it's usually only called when someone's preparing to kill, or without push or any shoves, this is going to be brought up before the primogen. He had already been thinking about how to extricate himself without losing face, but it is serious, especially being as his ghoul is no longer his ghoul. And with those realizations sitting on the table, we will end this week's session. I want to thank you all for arriving and playing and exploring this portion of Chicago. We can wrap up a few things via post over the next few days, and I will have our episode up short or as quickly as I can. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks.
Night, night.